Tell me what's good, tell me what's nice. Keeping it cool, keeping it calm, keeping it light. Time to rejoice. What's good, what's good, what's good with John and Joyce.
You're reading my book?
Yeah, I am.
You did read my book.
I did read your book. I loved it, and I've loved every book you've had out. Hey, we on right now?
Yeah.
So hey, Joyce, how are you?
Wait, so does that mean what's good today is my book?
Yeah, what's good today is your book, and I just love it. Enjoy health, wealth, and happiness. Live abundantly now. I just love that word, abundant.
Yeah.
I'd like to say a big thank you to all of our sponsors. Woodwinds Wedding and Special Events Venue and Silvio Sauces, thewoodwinds.com. Ascend Bank. They don't just see your accounts, they see your vision and ambitions. Ascend.bank. Moonshots, a vegan-based company that delivers the highest quality organic juices, coffee, bowls, and so much more. DrinkMoonshots.com. Linda Toscano of Caldwell Banker Realty in Guilford, Connecticut. With over 17 years of experience, Linda is known for her authentic, client-focused approach and expert guidance for buyers and sellers. Now, if you're thinking about making a move, Linda Toscano is someone you can trust. We're deeply grateful to all of our sponsors for their support and for partnering with us to uplift and enrich the lives of our listeners and viewers. True stories to inspire you to manifest the life you desire, because we really can't manifest or set a tone of our day by the way we think, what we say of ourselves in the morning.
100%.
And Joyce, I read your book.
100%.
It was an easy read. I love the wisdom that you shared.
Oh, yeah, some of my chapters are only a page and a half.
I know.
Because it makes you feel like you accomplished something.
And it's easy to read. The print is good. I didn't have to wear my readers, with this, believe it or not. And but I'm thinking right here, I love the idea of it. I read it. What was the impetus for you to write this book, Live Abundantly Now?
So, thank you for showing me.
Sure. Everybody needs to go
I
out and
love
buy
that
this
treasure chest. I saw that picture and I knew it had to be on the cover of the book. Yeah, so I wrote the book because I keep journals. For I don't know how many years, and I would write down things and write down like what I wanted in life and la 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 la. I've had vision boards, all of that. And one day years ago, somebody said to me, everything I manifest, I realized that I made really light of it. I almost made jokes about it to my girlfriends, and we laughed about it, and then it showed up. And that made me think, oh, I think that's happened to me too. So I began writing down, and these short stories are a lot of my stories, some other people's stories about how they attracted that in their life. And you'll be amazed at how it happens because it's so easy. All I can tell you is it's so easy that once you get it, you can't unsee it.
Right.
And that it comes with I love what you say, that spirit of ease about
the anointment
something.
of ease, yes.
Right. So I think of Katerina's story in this book. So Katerina, I love this story because she was divorced and kind of looking to date, but not really. And she said to her friends and herself, you know what? I want to find someone that has no baggage. And she was like really clear about it, but in a joking
Good luck,
way.
right? Good luck, right?
She said was, I want everyone to be dead in their family. I don't want it. No, she did. She said, I don't want any in-laws because maybe she went through that before.
Right.
She said, I don't want any in-laws. I don't want any kids with problems. I don't want anything like that. And I don't want to travel. So I want them to live really close to me. Yeah. And they would laugh about this. It would be like, oh, yeah, we know what she wants.
Right.
She wants like someone, blah, blah, blah. So she, maybe like a year or two later, she buys a small little house. And she goes out into her backyard. And over the fence, she meets her neighbor. And he's this good-looking guy. No parents. They're gone. Never had children.
Things are looking good.
And I'll just say that as we're sitting here right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's been years, and they are still together.
Oh, I love it.
They still live next door to each other because they decided that they both liked having their own space.
Yeah.
And they live together, and sometimes he goes home. But they have a beautiful life. And I know him, and he's an artist. He is picture perfect for her, and she is for him.
Yeah.
It was like, what? So in the
And
book,
they thought she was crazy, and look what happened.
yes, but in the book you will see a picture. Someone made a magnet for her that she put on a refrigerator, saying that.
What chapter is
Yeah,
this,
what
Joyce?
is that?
Wait, I wanna be able
I
to
think
show
it says that he
picture.
lives. Wait, he lives next door. Sorry about this. I should have had that book
See, we're
marked.
real casual doing
I had
this
this
stuff, folks,
book
you know?
marked.
It's like we're all hanging out together here.
Katerina, where are you?
Katerina.
I don't know. But there's a picture of the magnet that she had on her refrigerator.
Right.
Yeah, I got a few pictures in here. You'll even see Michael Bolton in this book.
Yes, the
'Cause
great
there's
Michael
a-
Bolton, Connecticut's own.
That's a story about how we met and how we ended up actually having a business together.
Mm-hmm.
So, why can't I find her?
She's,
Anyway,
while she's looking,
anyway.
she's worked with Carly Simon, John Mellencamp, Mariah Carey. You know, some small name people that Joyce has been associated with.
here it is. Here it is. Let me see. Her dream was simple: meet someone, fall in love, and live next door.
Right.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I think it was.
and
like
have
a
your
joke.
own separate places to go if you need to.
I think that's ideal.
Right.
Because especially if someone's sick and maybe you don't have the room in your house for the person to go to a wing of your house if they're
Right,
sick.
right.
It would just be like, I'm just going to sleep home tonight because I don't want you to catch this.
Well, it's like the former, this is not related to the book, but the former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, Jimmy Johnson, when he would coach during the year, he didn't want to be interrupted. So he bought his own house that he had during the season, and his family lived down the street.
I love that.
And it, just basically a block or two away, but they never saw him anyway.
Right.
But they had the means to do that.
Right. There was a Hollywood couple, and I don't remember their names, but they had adjoining houses that came with a tunnel under it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So,
There's an idea.
yeah. So, but it was really nice because when she got all dolled up at night with her lingerie, she would just call him and he would just like come through
Honey.
the secret tunnel. So it was almost like they were always on a honeymoon in a way.
It kept it interesting. It kept the adrenaline going.
Yeah, yeah. It
Wow, honey, I'm on the other side
God,
of the
I forgot
tunnel.
about that
Yeah.
story.
Wow, okay.
did.
Okay, let's
So,
get back to the
yeah,
book
so
here.
anyway,
Okay.
I began to think of the things that happened in my own life, and it was as simple as, and I'll tell you the walnut brownie story that's in there. So I had this hankering for
Joyce,
walnut
now you got me thinking about
brownies.
the walnut brownies. she is a baker too.
I love to bake.
I
I
know
don't
you
even
do.
know if I'm a good baker, but I like to experiment. So I woke up and no, it was the night before I was grocery shopping with my son. He picked up a box of like Ghirardelli chocolate walnut brownies.
Oh,
But I had a friend coming over who has a nut allergy. And I said, no, I'll just I'll make a simple one. But it stayed in my mind. I wanted that chocolate walnut brownie. But
I want that brownie right
but-
now.
But I knew next time I will make it and we'll both sit here just
Every time I
eating it.
bring home brownies to my wife, she'll say, I love Joyce, I hate her. I love Joyce, I hate her. As she takes another big bite.
Yeah, there's
Right?
a lot of people say that about me. Yeah.
Oh, man.
So what happened was I woke up that morning and I made her the brownies. And I thought it was done in the middle, because I'm looking at it. For those of you who make brownies, they can't be too dry because then it burns around the edges. So I took it out with one hand to pull it out to see, test it in the middle.
Yeah.
And the whole pan was slid out of my hands, and it was like liquid lava that went all over my oven, on the floor, on my shoes. It went everywhere. And I went, And then I started laughing. Everyone was sleeping in the house, but I started to laugh and I sat on the floor and I thought, I am just destined not even to have a brownie today. And
I mean, you didn't say any swear words when that happened?
didn't.
Wow.
No, this is why I remember that story.
Yeah.
Because it dripped down like the side of my oven and between the cabinets, so I had to get
You got a lot of work to do
It
to
was
clean
like a
it up.
greasy mess. But I kept saying, I'm not going to let this get me down. Maybe I'm just not meant to, have a brownie today. But it made me laugh for some reason. It made me laugh. So an hour later, I opened my front door. There's my pal there who never did this before, like ever, nut allergy. And she's got a white box in her hand. And I said, "What's that?" And she said, "Oh, I was in this bakery, and they just came out with a tray of brownies with walnuts, and I remembered that you loved them, so I got you a box."
Oh,
and they were
wow.
the best brownies I ever had.
Even better than the ones you made?
Yes.
Really?
And I think it's because someone else made it.
Right.
But they even put like a frosting on it, which
Yeah.
I usually don't.
Right.
And I thought to myself at that moment, I think if I had cursed it, and I think if I had been in a bad mood, for some reason, she wouldn't have got that vibe. Like, I'm going to get this for her. Because normally she wouldn't ever bring anything, especially with nuts in it.
Yeah.
So there it was, this gift. And again, that made me think,
Manifest.
watch your thoughts.
Manifest.
That's how you manifest.
Wow.
And I'll tell you something else why I think I have a chapter on it in the book about sometimes why vision boards don't work.
Right.
And people will say, "Oh, I've done that, I don't want to do that anymore." And what happens is they cut out pictures of money or a car or a house, and they look at that, and then after months and months and months go by, nothing's showing up, the board becomes a reminder of what they don't have. So I tell people, number one, you're the walking vision board. You're the one with your thoughts every day. But if you feel like you want to have a vision board, don't put on like what you don't have. Put on pictures that make you feel good. So when you wake up in the morning, if you love horses, put a picture of a horse up there, or a sunrise, a sunset, something when you wake up that makes you feel good,
Yes.
rather than, "Oh, I didn't win the lottery yet. I don't have the car I want yet." That's going to change everything. And that's what I hope, that this book gets that message to you. Especially when you read some other people's, their stories.
And Joyce, what we say too,
Yeah.
words mean things too, like you also
Means
allude to.
everything.
You and I talked about that all the time. Like when people say, "Well, I can't." Well, no, switch it around and say, "How can I?" Or, "Oh, I have to go to work." No, you get to go to work.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
an
yeah. Just a
honor
little
and
switch.
privilege.
Yes.
That little bit of a
Yes.
pivot in your
Yes.
language can change everything,
Yeah.
your whole mindset.
Yes.
And you address a lot of that with your book too.
Yeah.
How we look at life and how we can manifest things by what we say and by what we think.
And instead of saying that something is, oh, if somebody says to you, "How are things going?" And maybe you're really going through something, and instead of telling the whole story, you can just say, "You know what? It's a little challenging right now." If you change it from "it's so hard"
Right.
to "it's a little challenging right now, but I'm going to get through this."
See, the key word was the "but" too there. I said it's a little challenging right now. People can relate to that, but I'm going to get through it.
Yeah.
Nevertheless. I use that
Yes.
as a transition many times.
I like that.
Things are really, really
Nevertheless.
kind of tough.
Yeah.
I'm, a little bit tough at work right now, a little stressed, but nevertheless, I'm really optimistic about things.
Right.
And you just watch how things can change.
Things do have a way of changing around in your life.
It's like
for
the
certain.
word disease.
Yeah.
Disease means lack of ease.
Mhm.
And I think that's why a lot of people get sick because of lack of ease.
Right.
But all of a sudden, when you get those ease thoughts, a little bit more of a positive mindset about yourself, I think a lot of times, that can
Yes.
help
Yes.
in so many ways.
And using your imagination, being able to, dream about things while you're awake. And I'll give you another example of that, which is also in the book. I was going to a job that I did not like. Something happened at work where the husband and wife weren't getting along, and I was doing public relations for them, and it got to the point where I found myself crying, actually, like in the car. So what I innately did, don't even know why I did it, but turned off the radio, and I started to drive, and I would pretend I had a radio show. And it was my show, and I would say, "Hi, this is Joyce Logan, and today we're going to talk about," and I went into this, imaginative things that kids do, but I loved doing that. So I did that, and this is going to seem really bizarre, and you're going to say that can't be, but 3 weeks later, I was co-hosting when someone couldn't show up in radio. They asked me to cover for them. I had never done that ever, ever, ever. So I went to lunch one day with someone, and they had their own radio show. But I met with them because they advertised on their show. It's the only reason why I met them, for my client, the one that I was having a difficult time with.
Yes.
And we had lunch and we talked about it, and he said, "Well, I'll send you information on it." Great, great. And I got back to my office, and the phone rang, and it was the receptionist saying that this person was on the phone. And my heart started to race, and I had this crazy thought that he was going to ask me to cover for him on the show. I don't know where that came from. And that's what happened.
Wow.
Picked up the phone, and he said, "I have an audition. I have an audition.
Wow.
I had a great talk with you.
Yeah.
And I know that you'll be able to do this because you've listened to the show." What he didn't know is I didn't really ever listen to the 4-hour show.
Right.
My mother did.
Right.
I knew of the show. I knew pieces of the show. And I did. It was the next day I had to go in.
The next day.
It was the next day. It was a 5-hour show on Saturday, a 4-hour show on Sunday, only breaking for news and
So a
weather.
talk show, you didn't have any music to play, like what I do.
No.
Wow, that's a lot of time to fill.
And what I had to talk about were places about businesses that he frequented on the show.
But you didn't.
No. Wow. And most of the restaurants to talk about, I'm vegetarian. They were all steakhouses.
Places that I would be frequenting, quite frankly.
Yes.
Being the carnivore I am.
But when I woke, I didn't even sleep that night. I mean, you can imagine.
Yeah.
I had like maybe 2 hours sleep. And I remember my husband saying to me, "How do you get yourself into these things?" He said, "I don't know, but I just said yes because I feel compelled to say yes." But I said, "Please don't listen, because if I know you're listening, I don't want anyone critiquing me. I'm not even going to say my name." And I did.
The whole time you didn't say your name.
I think I said Joyce. I think I said Joyce in the very beginning, and I'm covering the show, and my heart was beating out of my chest when the red light went on.
Yeah.
And
I remember the feeling when I first
yes,
did radio.
And I felt like, am I going to have the breath to speak? Am I going to let this guy down? I've got 5 hours to talk. 5 hours? Yeah, it was 5 hours.
That's insane.
I know, it was. Yeah. So the red light went on, and, the producer went like this.
Right.
And I just started speaking, and I said, "Well, obviously, I'm not him, and I'm here, and I'm covering, but we're going to have a good time today." And I'm reading through, stuff like that. And I began to feel like I was Cinderella who found the other shoe in my life. It was a spirit of ease that came over me, that I realized that I always love speaking to people. I am a storyteller. And even though I was horrible for that show because I wasn't making sales for them, talking about it, but people were calling in and telling the people answering phones, like, oh, tell her to keep talking about those stories because we like to hear it. And I was like, okay, but
You were in your right place.
I wasn't making money for them. Right. But I'll tell you, the biggest compliment I got is by Sunday, I had to get up and do it again. And I was really like,
you had to do it again.
I had to do it for 4 hours on Sunday.
Oh, so one less hour.
Yes, I one less hour. But I basically crawled up my stairs to go to bed.
Right.
And I saw that my son was calling me. And of course, family I always pick up for. So I picked up the phone, hi, Tim. And I said, I'm really, really tired. I had to work this morning. That's all I said. And he said, he said, I was sitting having a cup of coffee in a parking lot. I think it was McDonald's. And he always listened to the show, which I didn't know. And he said, it's so funny because the woman that was on there, I found her so comforting. And then I realized that she reminded me of you. But then I thought, she was very professional and you're not. So it couldn't be you. So it couldn't be you.
You get a compliment and then it's like a backtrack.
But he never thought of me being on the radio. So it wasn't in his head that it was me. That's all I needed to hear.
Right.
That made me feel like I didn't let people down.
Right.
And I didn't care because I loved it. I loved it. And then after that, I was offered a show for a couple of years that I did with a friend of mine called The Two Wise Ladies. Yep. But what I'm trying to say is that came off my imagination I was doing a soothing salve on my mind because I so disliked where I was going that I created this imaginary world while I was driving to and from this place.
And think how little kids do that all the time.
Up.
Little kids do that all the
John,
time. They play
yes.
them, right? A lot of times they manifest because they're out there playing, make-believe.
Yes.
And you were doing that make-believe, but you were manifesting something.
Yes.
Yes. So much like the laws of the universe are saying, Joyce, that's for you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And that's what I started writing this book about all those times. Even though they may sound like insignificant things to you, it doesn't always have to be the lottery that you win. It could be someone shows up, someone gives you a phone call.
A relationship that happened with your husband.
It did.
Wayne.
Yeah.
You kind of manifested that.
I did.
And that's also written about in the book.
Yeah, that's a very, very special story because I loved him before this was even possible to be with him. But I was in his presence, and he was married at the time, and that's all I knew. I was doing my internship at the Brantford Counseling Center in our town because I just always wanted to be a therapist. And however, on my way to be a therapist, I made a pit stop in radio, and that's how I met you because it helped me pay my bills.
And I needed a therapist at the time, like most people in radio. Thank you, Joyce. Whew.
Yeah. Those are interesting times. But it was during that time where I was this intern, and running a group co-run. I wasn't running it. I was an intern. And it was a group about people in transition, whether it was with jobs or whatever in life. It was a really interesting group. And she said to me one day, wait till you meet someone who's joining our group, Wayne Logan. And Wayne Logan is fabulous, and he could actually write a book about this, but, he's joining the group. I said, oh, great. So, I really was looking forward to meeting him. And that morning, I broke my foot.
Oh, jeez.
I reached up in the closet, and something very heavy fell on my foot. And I went to the emergency room, so I had a cast on my foot. I had crutches. But something told me I had to go because I really wanted to meet Wayne, not only because he was a new addition to the group. And we're sitting in the group setting, and he's talking and all that. And I'm just thinking, what a marvelous man he is. His wife is the luckiest person on earth. That thought, was in my mind. But there's one thing when we were in the group, if you've been to an emergency room or anything like that, you get a hospital bracelet.
Yes.
And they're impossible to take off.
I know.
So I had the hospital bracelet on. I was trying to maneuver it off, kind of where no one could see it. And the group leader says, Joyce, you're looking very pensive about our conversation. Do you want to add to this?
Oh,
I had no clue what they were talking about.
You're just trying to get the bracelet out.
What happened was my thumb fingernail got caught under a little clasp in there.
Right.
And I couldn't dislodge my hand. So I was like this.
No.
And when I held it up and I said, I'm so sorry, but I'm caught. Wayne came over. He's the only one who got up, and he knelt in front of me. And he took my nail and he just eased it out. And I thought, oh, this guy is so great. His wife is like the luckiest person on earth.
It's like circulating in your brain. Lucky.
Yes.
He's chivalry. And the thing is, like the
Yes.
knight in shining armor.
He even,
A gentleman in
He
every
was
way.
such a gentleman, and he helped me, even I was going on a date with someone. He even, helped me with something. And so it was, 5 years after that, to make the story short, I was his wife.
And I had the opportunity to work with this man at many of my DJ gigs over the years, and he was a photographer. He also did some, photo shoots for us, at my house. And you're right. I mean, an absolute gentleman in every way. And
I love Jimmy Stewart because on our earlier show, we talked about one of my favorite movies, It's a
Yes.
Wonderful Life. He reminded me of Jimmy Stewart.
Right.
I mean, he was tall and thin, but he had that demeanor about him. That
just
he
a very
was
kind man, not judgmental. When you were around him, you
Right.
felt like he just liked you for who you are.
Yes.
That's a
And
real
I'm so
gift.
blessed to, have his daughter in my life. Denise, she's a wonderful person. She's like my bonus daughter.
So why don't we hold up your book again, Joyce?
My
And
book.
when is this going to be available for everybody
So
to buy?
you know what? By the time you see this will be on Amazon, and even if you get Kindle, it's just like pennies to get it. But I think it will help you. I think it will help you see that it's not as difficult as it appears to manifest. The word manifest may seem too big sometimes, but it starts with the little things, and then it grows from there. But it's every day just to be grateful, just to be thankful. And once those little miracles start showing up, they don't stop because you keep seeing them. You can't unsee them. But give them as much credit as you do as millions of dollars, because you will have the mindset and peace of that within you.
Yeah,
'Cause
we're
there's
all
a lot-
looking for that peace.
It is.
And,
It's inner peace.
gratitude is riches.
It is, John.
You think about that
It
each and
is.
every day, just being grateful. And no matter how tough our lives are, and we all have challenges,
Yes.
each and every one of us is battling something right now. There's still something to be grateful for.
Yes.
There's a lot more, I think, to
100%.
be grateful for than there isn't.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
all about where you look.
If you turn on the news, it immediately sinks your heart to the bottom of your
does.
feet. That's why I say watch the local news, which is great. Learn what the weather is, but beyond that, we don't need to know what the whole world is doing.
Right.
We can pray. We really can send out good energy and all of that. But peace begins in your home, and you have to have that to. Life is too short not to have it. Let me just say that.
There's a lot going on, and there's a lot of good out there. So just
Look for it.
focus on what's good.
Yeah.
What's good in your life, and then that's the name of our show here. What's good?
What's
with
good?
John and Joyce, and tell your friends about us, please.
Yeah.
Let them know about this, and we'd love to get your feedback down the line. And thank you so much for
Sending you love.
sending
you
lots
love.
of it. Thank you so much for watching and listening.
Thank
and we wish you the best for you and your family.
Bye for now.
Hey, I heard you got engaged. Congratulations. Now it's time to book the DJ.
And that's where we come in.
I'm John Cadillac Seville with John Seville Entertainment, Wedding Wire, and the Knot 2026 Couples Choice Awards winner. You can call me directly if you like at 203-988-0658. We'll set up your free consultation, or go to johncaddyman.com. That's 203-988-0658 or johncaddyman.com. We offer excellence, peace of mind, and a great time for all. John Seville Entertainment, a name you know and can trust.